Okay, can you see me? And Kenzie, can you confirm you can see me? Check up, okay, can you see me? Hello? Please confirm. Yes, yes, okay, I can see you. Hold on a second. Okay, perfect. Everybody can see me, I guess, okay? Hello, everybody. It's Giuseppe Gallo here from London. Sorry to be late. I've been talking to myself for the last 10 minutes. I thought I was already online. I wasn't. Anyway, hi all. Welcome to the first ever Vermouth virtual tour all around the world. My name is Giuseppe Gallo, and I'm the former global ambassador for Martini Rossi. I'm a Vermouth lover. I'm a Amaro connoisseur. I'm a coffee expert. But moreover, I like to share everything I learned about Vermouth with you all. I'm in London, UK. It's 14 minutes past 8 p.m. Okay. Okay, just need to refresh here. We'll start in a few. Okay. Okay. Yes, we'll start just in few, not you. Okay. Okay, perfect. Perfect. I'm just texting with the end to make sure that we are live. Okay, let's start. Please, green lights. Confirm. Now, thanks. Okay. Everybody can see yes, live. Okay, so we are live. We are live. Perfect. Let's start. It's you. Let's go. Okay. Dear all, thank you very much for joining us. I do apologize to be a little bit late, but I'm Italian. You know, Italians, they're always late. So please excuse me. Welcome to the first ever virtual Vermouth tasting. My name is Giuseppe Gallo, and I've been working, breathing, and experiencing Vermouth for the last 8 years, all around the world. I want to thank you, first of all, Anne and Tales of the Cocktail, to give us the opportunity to share the Vermouth love with all of you all around the world. This is not an easy task to organize a project like this and connect with all of you around the world. So thank you so much, and thank you, Tales of the Cocktail. But one particular wish goes to Candice from the Tales of the Cocktail team. It's Candice's birthday today, and she has been working very hard on the last 3 weeks to make this happen. So she's there now at Tales of the Cocktail head office in New Orleans, sitting, working on her birthday to make sure that we can connect all together. Thank you so much, Candice, and happy birthday. Tanti auguri. Let's start. First of all, if you go to slide share, pepe.gallo, you will find a presentation which is called The Truth About Vermouth. Please go there and connect. The truth about Vermouth. Why the truth about Vermouth? Still nowadays, in 2016, a lot of wrong information about Vermouth. Sometimes I'm going online and I check it out, blog, websites, even like books, and I find lots of very wrong information about vermouth. Has been a dust category for so long, but thanks to bartenders all around the world, has been facing a new trend, a new resurgence with a classic cocktail, with Manhattan and Negroni. So I wish that vermouth is going to get bigger and bigger, a trend more and more again. The truth about vermouth, because today I want to share what I consider to be true information that are based on proof, on research, on books. The first books I want to recommend to you all guys is a book that I've been working on with Jared Brown and Anastasia Miller 3-4 years ago. Mixology on vermouth is a great starting point to learn the base about vermouth. The second one has been published last year in 2015 by a very good friend of mine, Francois Monti, Le Gran Libro do Vermouth. It's all in Spanish at the moment, but Francois mentioned that he's planning to translate in English in 2016. Then I have 2 books, which they're only available in Italian at the moment, hopefully in English soon, which is the Vermouth di Torino book. Is the first ever book about vermouth from the 1904. And then Vini di Rosso. So all the information we're sharing with you today, they all based on reality, or what we can prove. Please do not trust any kind of blog or website that I heard of or I read somewhere. Vermouth is more than 2,000 years old. So Vermouth has all the proof, all the books and information you need. In case you have any questions, you can ask questions now. You can ask questions anytime, even after this session, to Tales of the Cocktail or directly to myself. If you connect, you have the presentation about the truth about vermouth on SlideShare. You will find all my contact details and all Tales of the Cocktail contact details. Like, I have the first question is, please, when you ask the question, can you make sure you put your name, the city where you're asking the questions, and the bar where you work, if you work in this industry. The first question is coming from Mark, Dieter Her. Anyway, we could get a list for those books at the end of the presentation. Absolutely, you can. That's the first note I will take, the books list, okay? Also, Anne just sent me a message now saying that I need to remind you guys to refresh the browser so you can get the picture nice and clean. So where vermouth started actually? Okay, so one more question from Mia Glant. Sorry, can you post the name of those books? I will repeat the name later on, okay? Book's name. What's the agenda today, guys? We're gonna spend 10 minutes talking about the heritage, the history of vermouth, 10 minutes on the legislation, 10 minutes on production, and then we're gonna have the tasting all together. So don't worry about asking questions. I'm gonna stop every 10 minutes. I'm gonna give you the opportunity to ask any questions, okay? What I need you guys to do now is to have your vermouth next to you, already out of the fridge, and then in a wine glass, so we're gonna be able to have a tasting all together, okay? Vermouth. The slide number 3 on the presentation, you will find a picture of Hippocrates. This gentleman over here. Hippocrates is the father of the modern medicine. Hippocrates, he was the first one to realize that infusing the wormwood plant into the wine, it will give a very bitter characteristic to the wine. At that time, water, it was not drinkable. People, they were only drinking wine. And he realized as a doctor that drinking this bitter wine, it will help to digest, it will help some disease and stomach pain. He wrote this recipe in the book, and the book with the wormwood plant, it went up to the Romans. Now, when you're talking about Romans, Romans are the ancestors of the Italians. So what Italians, they like to do? They like to talk about food all the time. Thinking about all these Italian movies, pasta, macaroni, pizzas, it's all true. If you go to Italy, people spending 70% of the time talking about food, which is a great thing. Romans were exactly the same. when they were not too busy fighting around the world, they were sitting in Rome discussing politics, but moreover eating. And how they were eating, Romans. I have a little picture here on the slide number 5 or 6, where you have this picture of the Romans lying down in a horizontal position. If you look some of the Hollywood movie like The Gladiator, you will see Romans lying down and eating a lot of meat and food. Now, when you're eating in the horizontal position, what happens? That your stomach, you actually have some difficulties to digest. But when you eat in vertical position, you can digest much quicker. Why? Because of the gravity force. When you eat in vertical position, the food is much quicker to go down. If you're eating in horizontal position, you got more difficult to digest. So Romans, they didn't want to stop to eat that much, and they decided to take this recipe from Hippocrates, from Greek, and starting to make their own aromatized wine. So they took the wine, they had a little bit of honey to make it a little bit more sweeter. They put some wormwood plant, the wormwood herbs, into the wine to infuse, some other spice and herbs, and they start to drink what they call it the Vinum absinthium. Vinum absinthium. It's already something common with the current dictionary. After that, we're starting with the spice trade, with the two main areas in Italy. One is the northeast of Italy, where is a city called Venice, Venezia. He was a gentleman that around the 1500 left Venezia to go to Asia, called Marco Polo. When he came back from China, on top of bringing noodles, where Italians they took inspiration to make spaghetti, he also brings some spice and herbs, saffron, cinnamon, cloves, vanilla. All spice and herbs that were not available in Europe at that time. On the northwest of Italy, in a city called Genoa, he was a guy that left the city very young. His name was Christopher Columbus. Have you ever heard about Christopher Columbus? What he did? In 1492, he discovered a new continent, the Americas. Tomato, coffee, they were not available in Europe before Christopher Columbus. Sugar was not available. And as well, a lot of spice and herbs that were not available. A gentleman called Mr. Alexis of Piemonte, it's a nickname. His real name is Girolamo Ruscelli. He wrote a book on around the 1600, the mid of the 1600, with over 40 different recipes of wine infused with a different spice and herbs. Tobacco wine, opium wine, absinthium wine, vanilla wine. This one is the first ever proof of what we're calling today vermouth has been written in a book around the mid of the 1600s. A lot of people in the Piemonte region, in the countryside, they start to take inspiration from this book, from Alexis of Piemonte, and they're starting to make their own wine infused with spice and herbs. But no one of them is starting to trade, to sell it. But vermouth has been around in Italy probably since the late 1600s, early 1700s. The first ever vermouth brand considered to be founded in Italy is the one that I have a bottle here next to me. Cora. Today, unfortunately, it's not really available nowhere, apart of few shops in Italy, but it's called Cora, C-O-R-A. Why is it very important for us, this vermouth? Because this one is actually the first ever vermouth arrived in US. Now, before we're gonna move to the legislation about vermouths, if you got any questions, please feel free to ask now. So I'm gonna repeat the book lists so everybody's gonna be clear. That's the first question coming from Mark. Mixology on Vermouth by Jared Brown and Anastasia Miller. Gran Libro de Vermouth by Francois Monti is only in Spanish. Vermouth di Torino by Arnaldo Strucchi is only in Italian. I hope this one helped. Now we're gonna move to the legislation part about Vermouth. This one, it's really, really, really important. So let's focus on it. You will find these slides about legislation. The only legislation today available around the world is the one made in Europe, which is a 251/2014, update only 2 years ago. What is the requirement by the EU, the European legislation about Vermouth? It must to have the main bitter notes, botanical notes coming from the Vermouth plant, from the Artemisia absinthium. Number one. Number two, it must to be at least 75% wine per liter bottle. Number three, it must to be between 14.5 to 21 ABV, alcohol by volume, proof. If you don't follow those three rules, legally in Europe, it cannot be called Vermouth. The American legislation in US is slightly different, a little bit more generic. In US, to be called Vermouth, the legislation says it must to taste and smell like Vermouth. So basically, anything on wine base potentially can be called Vermouth. Outside US and Europe, there is no legislation about Vermouth. Do you have any questions about legislation? Please feel free to ask now. I give you 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We move on. How Vermouth is made. What do we have in a bottle of Vermouth? This one, a little bottle of Vermouth. 75% of this bottle, it's wine. So rule number one, to be a Vermouth expert, you must to keep your Vermouth in the fridge. Vermouth must to be served fresh, cold, like a white wine. 75% it's wine. So what kind of wine do we need to make Vermouth? We need crispy, light, simple, white wine. 99% of the Vermouth available nowadays on the market are based on white wine. Even red Vermouth is made with white wine. Trebbiano, Blanc, Grillo, they're all good white wine base to make Vermouth. Why are we using white wine and not red wine? Very simple reason. White wine is more easy to work with. It doesn't give too many tannins. It has the right acidity. And moreover, is the one that you give a best cost efficiency. After we have the wine, what do we need? Botanicals. What kind of botanicals we need? You will find these kind of slides with a map of botanicals from all around the world. I hope you're gonna be able to see on slide share. We need herbs. The most important botanicals that we must have by the legislation to be able to call Vermouth, it's Vermouth. I have it here with me, and I hope you can see it. Can you see the Vermouth? It look like oregano, and it smell like oregano actually. This one is really important. That's where the name Vermouth is coming from the Vermouth plant. What else we need? Barks. What kind of barks? Quassia bark. This one is a quassia bark from Jamaica. It's one of the most bitter component. One of the most bitter components you can find on the earth. It's one of the main ingredients to make Amaro, bitter, aperitif, vermouth, so on and so forth. Please never chew this kind of bark, okay? They're really, really, really bitter. Then, flowers. What kind of flowers? Roses or chamomile flowers. Here I've got some dry chamomile. One thing before I forgot, that's very important. Botanicals to make vermouth are always dry. You never use fresh botanicals. In some cases, you can use fruits, but when you use fruits, it's a frozen fruits like raspberries. Then we have some roots, like rhubarb roots. This one, it's a rhubarb root. It's one of the main flavor you can find again in Amaro, bitter, aperitif, and vermouth. It's a pretty pungent, bitter smell. What else we have? Some seeds, like coriander seeds, or some citrus peel. Even the citrus peel, very important. In this case, I got some orange peel. Here, they all dry peel, orange peel or lemon peel. You never use fresh one. When we have all these type of botanicals, you need to extract the flavor from it. So you have different types of technique. Distillation is one of them. Maceration is another one of them. Percolation is another one of them. Each brand, each recipe, each formula, they get their own secret. I have a question now from Christina Sutter. Said, do you need to put in the fridge before you open or after it is open? The bottle of vermouth, I guess. Okay, so we're gonna reply to this question after we finish this paragraph, okay? When we have all these different extracts, all these different flavors, we're starting to blend with the wine. When you blend with the wine, you then leave all these flavors. You add a little bit of pure alcohol, grain alcohol, spirits to fortify the wine, and then you add a little bit of sugar, just beet sugar. And you let it marinate between 10 days to 2 weeks to get all the ingredients to come together and be only one nice flavor in your mouth. After that, I have another question from Emily, which I'm going to reply in a second. After that, you filter it one again, it's a charcoal filter it, and then you bottle it. A bottle of vermouth can take up to 1 month to 3 months to be ready. So please respect vermouth and keep in the fridge. Regarding the shelf life of vermouth, I always recommend before you're gonna drink or you're gonna make a cocktail with vermouth, yes, you need to put in the fridge at least for half an hour so I get a little bit of refreshness. Then you open it, you pour over ice, and you drink it, or you make your dry martini or your Manhattan or your Negroni. After you open a bottle of vermouth, you usually have between 3 to 4 weeks to finish the bottle of vermouth. Sometimes I got these questions. If I don't finish the bottle in these 3 or 4 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, it's about 30 days. 30 days is about 30 shots. So if we can't finish a bottle of vermouth, we may need to rethink about our aperitif menu. Okay, I got another question. It misheard. Okay, from Mia Glantz. I said that we have different types of production process, extraction process, maceration, distillation. The third one was a percolation. Percolation is one of the oldest methods to extract flavor. Thank you. Chef life, when the bottle of vermouth is not open, it can go up to 18 to 20 months. But the bottle of vermouth, it must be closed, you never open it, and you keep in a nice, I don't want to say dark, but a nice cellar. And all you keep it in a room which is not too much lights, because lights, they affect the vermouth flavor. After you open the bottle of vermouth, please keep in the fridge. It happened to me so many times of consumers coming to my session and say, you know, I have a bottle of vermouth in my cabinet for the last 3 years. I had a glass 3 years ago for Christmas, and then I went to have another glass. It's disgusting. Of course. What happens if you open your bottle of wine, you have a glass, you close it, you put it in a cabinet, and you leave it there for 3 years? It's gonna taste tough. It's gonna be like, you know, a vinaigrette. We don't want to drink vinaigrette. A bottle of vermouth usually is very affordable price. Keep in the fridge. I have one more question from Emily Han. Why don't you ever use fresh botanicals? The reason why we don't use fresh botanicals, or brands that don't use fresh botanicals, is for consistency. You need to make sure to be able to produce vermouth 12 months per year. So you need to have dry botanicals in order to have the same consistency and provide the same product, same liquid as final taste. If you use fresh one, sometimes the freshness can be a little bit more sweeter, a little bit more acidic, a little bit more bitter. So you never use fresh one. You got to dry them out. I just got a nice message which said that the vermouth book by Mixellany is only $15. A great vermouth and aperitif guide. Perfect. Let's move on now. If you got any other questions, please feel free. We have 20 minutes to taste the vermouth, to our matrix, and ask a few more questions. Any other questions? No? You're sure? Perfect. So we can move on. Now, what I want to do, I need you guys to have your bottle of vermouth at home ready next to you and your glass ready next to you. On my presentation on slide share, you will find this cross, what I call the matrix taste. I'm not sure you can see this, the last slide. Before we're gonna go and taste vermouth, I want you guys to take your phone, take a picture of your bottle of vermouth, like that, okay? Take a picture, post on your Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and please hashtag Tales of the Cocktail and the truth about vermouth. The tag is gonna have more picture. I'm gonna send this book about the Negroni. It's in English. It's written by Luca Picchi, the most authority bartender about the Negroni. He has a beautiful chapter about gin, Peter Campari, and red vermouth. So take a picture. I give you 30 seconds. Post on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. The one with more likes next week is going to receive this beautiful book about the Negroni. I have a question from Steve Lamont. When I open bottle, I transfer some to sterilize the bottle, full so on oxygen, which will keep a bit longer. Correct. Correct. Well done, Steve. So Steve, after he opened the bottle of vermouth, he threw a little bit of vermouth away so he can sterilize the bottle of vermouth. Let's start now with our tasting on vermouth. Here next to me, I'm gonna start with the dry vermouth. Then I'm gonna move to white vermouth, and then we're gonna finish with the red sweet vermouth. Why we go in this session? Because we want to start with the vermouth has less sugar content, and we're gonna go up with the sugar content. So I'm gonna start from here. The first one I will taste, and I'm gonna have my matrix here. Here it's very simple. It's one cross line like that, another cross line like this. Sweet on top, dry here on the bottom, purple and bitter. We probably all have different types of vermouth now at home. I just want you to use this one as a guideline to taste vermouth. And you position the vermouth where you think is more appropriate. Let's start Okay, I got another question. What's the favorite kind of vermouth for a Negroni? Sweet vermouth, red vermouth, Rosso. I can't tell you which one is the best one because depending on what kind of gin you're going to use, obviously you have a Campari, so you need to make sure that you have the right vermouth. Now, Negroni is a cocktail which is one third, one third, one third, one part, one part, one part. So we need to make sure to respect this kind of recipe. If we change the ratio of gin, Campari, vermouth, there is not Negroni any longer. And I'm gonna recall an interview I read it last week or 2 weeks ago from Dale DeGroff, the king of cocktail. He said bartenders nowadays, they screw off the Negroni because they keep serving straight up. Negroni is an aperitif. Should be drinking on the rocks in a large glass with a big slice of orange. It's a boozy cocktail, so we need to drink slowly. It's gonna help us out to open up the stomach before our meal. I hope it's helpful as an answer. Any other question? Area? Perfect. Let's start. My first vermouth I'm gonna taste, it's Dolin Dry. Dolin is a vermouth de Chambéry from the Savoy region, southeast of France. The first thing I can smell is a white peach and a flower, a little bit of apricot, nice pungent acidity at the end. Let it breathe like a white wine and then I give it a sip. Spicy, herbal, with a touch of white flowers, with a short finish at the end. Very pleasant. Before you're gonna start your next dry vermouth, make sure you got a glass of water next to you, so you wash your mouth. Clean, we can taste the second one. The second one, it's a Nolly Prat dry. We give it a little stir. On the nose, a little bit more drier, some chamomile, dry fruits, very winey. Very round on the mouth, very good on its own, very long finish. Absolutely great vermouth. Guys, why I've been choosing the Dolin and Nolly Prat? For a very simple reason. We have a dry vermouth and an extra dry vermouth. Okay? This one a dry vermouth. What does it mean dry? By the legislation, extra dry vermouth, it must to be less than 30 grams of sugar per liter. Less than 30 grams of sugar per liter for an extra dry vermouth, like Martini Rossi or Cinzano. Dry vermouth, like the French style, is a dry style. Dry vermouth, by the legislation, can be between 30 to 50 grams of sugar per liter. So between an extra dry vermouth and a dry vermouth is a kind of big difference. So I'm gonna recall a phrase from one of my favorite mixologists around the world. He's the co-owner of the Pego Club in New York, Audrey Sanders. Once she said to me, before I start to make my dry martini, I decide what kind of vermouth I'm gonna use. And then based on vermouth, I will choose my gin. I hope that more bartenders, they're gonna get inspired and learn by Audrey Sanders. Now we're moving to the next vermouth, which is a Bianco vermouth. In this case, I have a Martini Bianco. Martini Bianco is the #1 vermouth by volume in the world. People in Italy, in Europe, they drink on the rocks on its own with a slice of lemon or slice of orange. Here I have my Martini Bianco with a steer. The first thing you get on your nose is an herbal note with a little bit of citrusy coming at the end. The mouthfeel is very pleasant. Bianco Vermouth is designed to be drank on its own. It has a little bit of vanilla, flowers, peach, a little bit of citrus coming through, some melisses. Really good, really pleasant. Guys, I can see that you're doing a great job. My phone is on fire with all your message on Instagram and Facebook. Well done. Keep posting. Very good, very balanced. Try sometimes, and this one, it's a wish that I have for people outside of Europe to taste vermouth on its own and not all in cocktails. Have a nice bottle of Bianco Vermouth or dry vermouth, red vermouth, pouring over ice, add a slice of orange, add a slice of lemon, and sip it. If you want, you can add a little dash of soda or tonic, but you don't need actually. It's delicious on its own. Now we're going to taste our fourth vermouth. The fourth one is Americano Cocky. Americano is pretty new in some of the markets outside of Italy, but I thought it's very interesting taste profile. It's kind of different from what you can find in the business nowadays, and I think it's interesting to taste it. On the nose, it has a very pungent gentian, bitter orange notes. Let's taste it now. Very well balanced. Wine with elderflower, white peach, gentian, dry orange. It's delicious, really good, very well balanced. Again, this one on its own, on the rocks, or with a splash of soda. It's great. Okay, let's move to the red vermouth. Actually, before we move to the next one, I have a question coming from Simone Albertini. I'm going to reply to you in 2 minutes. Bianco Vermouth, they're usually between 100 to 120 grams of sugar per liter. Some of them, they can go a little bit upper than that. 100 to 120 grams of sugar per liter. Okay? Bianco Vermouth is in a hybrid category. The old style of vermouth is the French dry style and Italian sweet style, red style. Now we're going to taste the Italian red style. The first one I have here is the new release by Cinzano 1757. It's a Rosso style, sweet style. Great for making Negroni, Manhattan, Martinez. On the nose, I got a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of licorice. And now that it's opened up, a little bit more herbal. On the mouth, a little bit peppery, spicy, rounded, and nice bitter finish at the end. Really good. Try with your Negroni. Next one I'm going to try is the Martini Riserva Speciale Rubino. Even this one has been just launched in Europe, in US last year. This red one specifically, they're using a small blend with a Nebbiolo wine, red wine. It's one of the unique point of view for this vermouth. Really herbal at the nose. When you open a bottle of vermouth, or when you taste actually sweet vermouth, like this one, when you open the bottle, so you put your nose on top, the first thing you should smell is herbal, which is not oregano, rosemary, or thyme. It's vermouth. The characteristic of sweet vermouth, it must be vermouth. Let's taste it now. A little bit more bitter. You can taste some gentian, woody, quinine at the end. Very herbal on the in the middle of the mouth. Very pleasant. Very long finish. The last but not least is the Carpano Antica Formula. Carpano Antica Formula is a vermouth inspired by what in the past used to be called the vanilla vermouth, which is you can find on this book, Vermouth di Torino. Carpano Antica Formula is clearly inspired by the vanilla vermouth. Very sweet on the nose. You can pick up a lot of tonka beans. I'm not sure if you're all familiar with tonka beans. It's these little seeds here. Can you see it? Very clear on the nose. Completely different on the palate. Nice balance. Tonka beans, spice, vermouth, very well rounded. Great vermouth. At the moment, I finish my tasting. I usually take my notes and I like to position the vermouth in this matrix cross. You can do the same at home. If you cannot see my iPad here, I'm gonna repeat once again. Sweet up here, bit dry down here, herbal on the left hand side, and bitter on the right hand side. You can position your vermouth wherever you like it. All of us, we got different taste profile. Also for me it's evening, it's almost 9 p.m. in the evening over here. Somewhere else in the world it's morning and somewhere else it's afternoon. So our body reacts differently at this time of the day to a tasting. So taste your vermouth. It doesn't exist a vermouth which is better than other one. They're all good, but they're all different. The role of bartenders is to know how vermouth is made and know how to play with vermouth in a cocktail and to find the right balance. I don't want to use a vermouth which is too sweet or overpowering for my Negroni. Because in Negroni I want to have a little bit of bitterness. In my Manhattan, I want to use a vermouth that is still allowed the whiskey to come through with a little bit of tannins at the end, but it gives a nice flavor. So my role is to explain to you how vermouth is made and to learn how to taste them neat. Your role as a bartender, as an expert around the world, is to explain to consumers which vermouth works better in which cocktail, but moreover, to explain to them, keep your vermouth in the fridge, and how to drink it on its own, over ice, with a slice of orange or slice of lemon. Now we open to Q&A. We got 5 minutes to finish. So the first question I have is from Simon Alberti. Could you talk a little bit about differences, if there is any, between Amaros? Averna, Vermouth, Bitter. We may need to set up another virtual tasting in the future. But basically, the main difference between Vermouth and Amaro or Bitter, Vermouth, it's a wine base. 75% it's wine, even more. In this one, we're using natural spirits, grain alcohol. That's the difference number one. Then, another difference is ABV, alcohol by volume. But moreover, the main difference is the recipe, the formula. The botanicals they're going to use inside. Vermouth, they're using more herbs, spices. Amaro, they're using more roots because they want to have that bitter finish which helps to digest. Also, vermouth, most of the times, they're around 14, 15, 16 alcohol by volume. Digestive, like Fernet or Bitter or Averna, they're around 30, 35, 40% ABV. Do you have any other question? Guys, we have now 27 people connected from all around the world. Are you sure you haven't got any questions? I'll give you another 2 minutes, and I will mention to you 5 key points to take home about vermouth. Vermouth is a wine-based product. Respect it. Store in the fridge. Vermouth is good on its own, over ice with a splash of soda or splash of tonic. Vermouth is one of the main ingredients for classic cocktails: Negroni, Manhattan, dry martini, Americano. Chef life for a bottle of vermouth, when it's not open, up to 18-20 months. When it's not open. After you open the bottle of vermouth, keep in the fridge for 3 or 4 weeks. I have another question from Simone Alberti. Once again, are there any other classification for vermouth besides dry, Bianco, and Rosso? No, there is not. There is a different classification for aromatized wine, aperitif wine, but it's a bigger topic, a bigger talk. We leave it for the moment. If you want to know a little bit more, you can either email me or email Tales of the Cocktail. I'll be very happy to reply to you, Simone. Any other question? I have a question from Steve Lamont. Do you have any favorite recipes using vermouth beyond the common ones? Yes. Yes, I do. I like my vermouth with a slice of orange, sweet vermouth or red vermouth, a lot of ice, and a splash of Prosecco. That's my favorite one. It's a classic cocktail called the Negroni Sbagliato, you're probably familiar with, which use bitter Campari, red vermouth, and Prosecco. When I like to have just a glass of vermouth, I'm just adding a little splash of Prosecco, nothing else. And what I'm doing, I'm adding to a flavored aromatized wine, a sparkling wine, like Prosecco. Prosecco is a simple, fruity, and crispy. Vermouth is a herbal, bitter, and rich. The combination together is absolutely delicious. Any other question, guys? Guys, what can I say? Thank you very much to you all to connect with us, to join the first ever virtual tasting on vermouth. If you got any question, please reach out to Tales of the Cocktail or to myself, and we'll be very happy to provide with you with more information. One more question from Mia Glantz before we close it down. There is a rich plummy flavor that I find in all Italian vermouth, in the mid palate. Are there any herbs or fruits in particular that you think contribute this flavor? Yes, yes. 2 in particular. Let me show you. One is the tonka beans. Another one is the aloe ferox. Okay? Those one, they're giving this plummy flavor to vermouth. And actually, they're coming to the middle plate. So, very good taster, Mia. Congratulations, because you're the only one to spot it. If you got any other question, otherwise, we're going to close down in the next 30 seconds. As I said, thank you so much for joining us. Again, if you got any questions, please do let me know. When you taste a new cocktail with vermouth or you want to know anything, please hashtag Tales of the Cocktail, the truth about vermouth. If you're going to be in London and you want to join us at the Barotto, it's a Vermouth and Amaro bar. So you are all very welcome to come here and taste all our vermouth together. As I like to say all the times, if you want to be an happy man, drink vermouth whenever you can. Salute! Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much.